Hello, everyone. Welcome to the next game in the 1987 American League season replay. Every game played out, no simming. Game of the week on video. Every other game played offline, but I've got the out of town scoreboard and score sheets that I will show at the end of the game. This particular matchup comes from Fenway Park in Boston. It'll be the Red Sox against the Toronto Blue Jays. Red Sox, the only team in the league without a win. They are 0-4, seeking that very first win to try to get one in the left-hand column. The Toronto Blue Jays are 3-1 on the season, and a really nice pitching matchup. Roger Clemens coming back from holding out, and he is on the roster. He will start this game. He was 20-9 with a 2.97 earned run average. And Jimmy Key will be going for the Blue Jays, 17-8 with a 2.76 ERA. To make room for Roger Clemens on the roster, the Red Sox have placed Marty Barrett on the IL. He will be out for a couple of weeks as he got injured in his previous game. So he will be out of action for a little bit. And in this game, Ed Romero is going to take over at second base in the slot normally held by Marty Barrett. All right. Everything is all set up for me to go. I've got the game on the computer all ready to score as we play it. Got a red and white dice for Boston. And we'll see about getting this game underway. Ballpark effects. Singles 1-19 for lefties, 1-15 for righties. Home runs 1-7 for lefties and 1-10 for righties. Do our pitcher-catcher interface. Sullivan is a 0 arm. Clemens is a +1. So Blue Jays trying to steal, they will be a +1. Jimmy Key is a -6 on his hold rating. Don't know if I've ever seen that before, but he's a -6. The catcher, Ernie Witt, is a 0, so that's obviously a -5. Red Sox don't run that much anyway, but they're definitely not going to run with a -5 being anchored to them. So I doubt you'll even see an attempt by Boston. But anyway, here's Roger Clemens. He is back in large and in charge, or at least that's what the Red Sox hope, as they are 0-4 on the season. They got swept in Milwaukee and lost the first game at home here against Toronto yesterday. They're going to try to right the ship with Roger Clemens. So leading things off for the Blue Jays will be Tony Fernandez, the shortstop. Fernandez is hitting an even 300. He is 6 for 20. No homers, 3 runs driven in. Of course, no stats for Roger because this is his first game of the season. So Tony Fernandez from the left side will step in, and we're underway. That's a 5-9, switch to being left. That's a strikeout, so Roger Clemens starts with a strikeout. First batter of the season, and he strikes him out. Clemens looking to be in mid-season form on the first at bat. Here's Rance Mullenix, the third baseman. And Mullenix is hitting .556. 5 for 9. No homers, 2 runs driven in. He's also walked 3 times. So he's getting on base. 4-6. And 1-16 is a single. He'll do it again. So Rance Mullenix continues his hot hitting with a 1-out single. He's not going to be held, not going to really go anywhere. And that'll bring up Lloyd Mosby, center fielder. Mosby hitting .263, a homer and 5 runs. Homer and 5 runs driven in. Nothing on the havoc roll. Infield looking to turn 2. Oh, the red die didn't go through, so let's do a sewer dice here and try again. We got a 111 for Mosby against the right-hander. That's a ballpark single check. And it's a 1-19, so that's going to be good. It's a single 1 star. And that will put runners at first and second. So after the initial strikeout, now all of a sudden, Clemens has allowed 2 base runners. And here comes George Bell, left fielder. Bell hitting .316, 2 homers and 4 runs driven in. Clemens to Bell. 1-5 for Bell, and that is a solid home run, no doubt about it. Look at it right here. 1-5 against the right-handed pitcher is a solid home run for George Bell. That's a burrito supreme because that's a 3-run shot for George Taco Bell. And the Blue Jays jump on Clemens early, 3-0. And for the Boston faithful who thought that Roger was going to be the savior of their losing streak, right now it's in jeopardy. 3-0 Blue Jays. Quiets the crowd here at Fenway. Some groans also coming from the stands. And here's Jesse Barfield. He's .235 hitter. No homers and a run driven in. 6-12, and that's a split chance on a triangle. 1-4 is a single. Anything else he lines to short. So he will line to Spike Owen for out number 2. But the crowd still murmuring about that 3-run home run from George Taco Bell, giving Jimmy Key a 3-0 lead to work with before he even takes the mound. Here's Willie Upshaw, hitting .063. He's really struggling. No homers or runs driven in. Off to a very slow start, to say the least. 5-11, that was a ballpark single check. So, again, 119. That'll work. That'll help the average. And that is the 4th hit of the inning for the Blue Jays. Upshaw will be held because he has the asterisk. So if you don't hold him, he gets the lead automatically. So he will be held. It would be a 1-15 plus 1 there. It'd be a 1-14 if you wanted to try it. But Fred McGriff is up. I think it's going to let Fred McGriff swing away. McGriff 2 for 6 rather. He's hitting .333. No homers or runs driven in. He has walked twice and struck out twice. So Clemens looking to regroup against McGriff. 6-6 to the lefty, struck him out. So bookend strikeouts, but in between, 3 runs on 4 hits, no errors and a man left. At the end of a half inning of play, it's Toronto 3 and Boston coming to bat. So Clemens rudely greeted on his season debut. Going to have to go back in and try to figure out what went wrong. Well, what went wrong was George Bell's 3-run homer. That's what went wrong, aside from giving up 3 other hits. But the big blow, the 3-run homer. Here's Wade Boggs for the Red Sox as they try to get back into this. It game's at Fenway, so they always say a game is never over at Fenway. Boggs hitting even 300 on the season, 6 for 20, with 1 homer and a run driven in. Lefty on lefty, 1-5 for Boggs. And that's a 1-19 home run. He's going to do it again. That is a 19. So how about that? Wade Boggs, his 2nd home run of the season. Solo shot right down there by the pesky pole. Home run number 2 for Wade Boggs. And the Red Sox back on the board that quickly. Cuts the lead to 3-1. Jimmy Key a little chagrined. Here is Ed Romero. He's 0 for 3 on the season in limited duty. He's going to get more playing time with the injury to Barrett. 2-9. And he's going to ground it to Tony Fernandez at short. 1 away. All right, so 1 away for Bill Buckner, and Billy Buck hitting .412 on the season with no homers and 2 runs driven in. 6-8 against Jimmy Key, and it's a ground ball. Shortstop X, and the shortstop Fernandez is a 1 E17. So we know he's going to get to it with nobody on base. You don't need to roll the D20. He is an E17. So looking at the shortstop chart for E17 error rating, he has to avoid 15, 16, and 17. Anything else, he'll be just fine. And he does. So nice play for Fernandez. 2 down after the leadoff homer. And we'll send up the cleanup man, Jim Rice. And Rice is hitting .529. He is really clubbing the ball. 1 home run, 5 runs driven in. 1-6 against the left-hander, though. This time he will strike out to end the inning. And that's going to do it. Red Sox will get a run, and that's it. So a run on 1 hit, no errors, and nobody left. We go to the second. Score is Toronto 3, Boston 1. And at the end of the third inning, we'll have the out-of-town scoreboard to get you caught up with what's happening on the rest of the American League. Clemens back out now, trying to do a little bit better than what he did in the first inning. Here's Ernie Witt. He's 4 for 10, hitting 400. No homers, 2 runs driven in. Of course, average is going to be a little skewed with limited sample size. 4-12, and that's a ground ball back to Clemens, and that's 1 away. So at least a good start to the second inning. Here's Sharperson, second baseman for Toronto. He's hitting 222, 2 for 9. No homers or runs driven in. 1-5, and that's a ground ball to short. And that'll be easily handled by Spike Owen. 2 down. Forgot I don't need to write the hits and left on base on the score sheet because the computer's going to take care of all that. So that's why I scratched that out. All right, here's Tony Fernandez. Struck out his first chance. 3-8, and he's going to ground it to short. So again, Spike Owen on the play. And this time Clemens goes 1-2-3 with the Blue Jays. We go to the bottom of the second. Still 3-1 ball game. But maybe both pitchers are settling in. We shall see. Jimmy Key will be facing Don Baylor, left fielder. It'll be Baylor, followed by Evans and Henderson. Baylor hitting 250, 3 for 12. No homers and 2 runs driven in. 2-9 for Baylor against the lefty is a fly to center and handled easily by Mosby, 1 away. That'll send up Dwight Evans, Dewey Evans. He's hitting 438, 2 homers and 9 runs driven in. He's definitely off to a hot start. 3-5 against the left-hander. He's going to keep that going. That's another base hit. So the average just goes up. Evans not going to be held. Here's Dave Henderson. Henderson hitting 200. He's 3 for 15. No homers and 3 runs driven in. Strategy, nothing happening with Jimmy Key. 111 for Henderson. That's a fly ball to right field. That's 2 away. Hauled in out there by Barfield. 2 down, and that's going to bring up the catcher, Mark Sullivan. Sullivan hitting 182, 1 for 11. I'm sorry, 2 for 11. No homers and 1 run driven in. Key with the strategy, nothing happening. Well, that's a leaner. I want to re-roll that because that red die was leaning, so we'll redo it. 5-7, right-handed. Ground ball, second base X. Nobody was being held, so second base keeps their full fielding. That is Sharperson. He is at 4E23, so it could be a challenge. 420, though, he'll get to it. And it's actually going to be a G1, so he'll go for the force play. And he is an E23, so he's got to avoid just 11 and 17. That's it. And he does, so it's a good play. Go for the fielder's choice, 4-6. And that's going to end the inning. No runs a hit, no errors, and a man left. We've played 2. Still 3-1. Favor of the Jays. Roger Clemens. Trying to keep it going. He'll be facing Rance Mullenix, Lloyd Mosby, and George Bell, heart of the order. Mullenix singled and scored his first trip. It's a 6-8 left-handed, struck him out. Strikeout number 3 for Roger Clemens. Brings up Mosby. 3-6, and that's a walk. First walk issued by Clemens. Mosby definitely going to need to be held. In fact, he's looking to get the lead right here, 2 through 5. He will get the lead, and he would have an excellent chance of stealing. Gets the 5, so he gets the lead. He's a 19. Being held makes him a 17, but the pitcher-catcher is a +1, so it's a 1-18 for Lloyd Mosby. And he's in there, stolen base. Stolen base for Mosby. And that'll send up George Bell now with a runner at second. The double play is no longer in order. And Clemens will have to figure out what's going on here. Check something on Mosby. That's the first stolen base of the season for Mosby. He had 39 on the season. All right, he will be held at second base. Clemens to Bell. 4-8, and that's a walk. So 2 walks in the inning for Clemens. Starting to lose a bit of the strike zone. Does set up a double play for Jesse Barfield, who lined to short his first chance. But Clemens has got to throw strikes. To 6-10, and that's a ground ball first base X. First guy on first was not being held because he's a trail runner, so that means Buckner keeps his numbers. And Billy Buck at first base is a 4-E13, so it's still not a good prospect. 4-18 though. 4-18 is a possible double play. The G1. He's an E13. Got to avoid 11, 13, and 17. And he just does it with a 12. So that's going to be a 3-6-3 double play. Nicely turned by Billy Buck and Spike Owen to get him out of the jam. Pitcher's best friend. Double play grounder. 3-6-3 if you're scoring at home, and you know you ought to be. So we go to the bottom of the third. It is still 3-1 Blue Jays. Blue Jays were threatening to tack on more on Roger, but the double play gets him out of the trouble. And now here's Jimmy Key back out, and he'll be facing Spike Owen. Shortstop, Spike Owen hitting .067 on the season. No homers and a run driven in. And therefore his fielding, not his hitting. Switch hitter will bat right-handed. 3-3 against the lefty, though, is a 1-19 home run. And that's gone. Spike Owen. He has weak power against lefties, but on the card, he's got a couple of home runs here. 1-19 is a home run for Spike Owen. A 3-3 against a left-handed pitcher. 1-19 is a home run. 20 is a triple. That's a home run for Spike Owen. How do you like that? Spike Owen. With a solo shot. He had 2 home runs on the season. And there you have him right there. Spike Owen, home run. Cuts the lead to 3-2. Red Sox right back in this game. Here's Boggs. Speaking of home runs, he led off the game with a home run. 2-11 against a lefty is a pop-up to third. Mullenix is there, 1 away. So the long ball has played a big part in the Red Sox lineup, that's for sure. Here's Romero. 3-8 against the lefty is a fly to center, and Lloyd Mosby puts it away. Here's Billy Buck. Grounded to short his first time up. 3-8 for Buckner against the lefty. He's going to ground it. Whoops, dropped my pen here. Grounds it to Fernandez at short to end the inning, but the Red Sox pick up a run. Cut the lead to 3-2 after 3. Toronto 3 and Boston 2 after 3 innings. And since we're at the 3-inning turn, a couple things to do. One is to stand up and stretch just a little bit. Check the camera, make sure, or the phone rather, to make sure everything's still in place like it needs to be or like I want it. And then we'll hit the out of town scoreboard for the first time. Stretch just a bit here. Make sure focus didn't get messed up. I don't think it did, but if it did, now it's fixed. Okay, we're ready for the out-of-town scoreboard. Other games being played on April the 11th. The Yankees are in Kansas City to take on the Kansas City Royals. That's Dennis Rasmussen for the Yankees and Danny Jackson for the Royals. And at the end of 3 innings, they are tied at 2 apiece. No home runs as of yet for either team. The Minnesota Twins are in Seattle. It's Les Straker against Mike Trujillo. And Seattle has taken a 4-1 lead after 3 innings. Home runs in the game, Greg Gagne for Minnesota, his first, and Dave Valley for Seattle, his first. In Chicago, Detroit is at Chicago. Chicago enters this game 4-0, really a surprise team so far. Detroit is at Chicago, Jack Morris against Rich 280Z Dotson. And the White Sox have jumped on Jack Morris early. It is 4-0 after the 3 innings. Ron Hassey and Darryl Boston both with their first home runs of the season to jump on Jack Morris. In Texas, we got the Brewers, who are 4-0, trying to go 13-0 like they did in real life. They are in Texas. It's Teddy Higuera against Charlie Huff. And it's tied at 1 after 3 innings. Paul Molitor has hit his 3rd home run of the season. In the Mistake by the Lake, Baltimore Orioles are at Cleveland. It's Mike Boddicker against the knuckleballer Tom Candiotti. And the Orioles lead at 2-0 as Cal Ripken has hit his 1st home run of the season. And the final matchup in Oakland is the California Angels and the Oakland A's. Urbano Lugo versus Jose Blame It On Rijo. And California is not blaming it on anybody. They're blaming everything on Rijo as they lead it 4-1 after 3. No home runs yet in that game so far. That's your out-of-town scoreboard. We'll check in again at the end of the 6th inning. At least you know where everybody else stands in the league up to this point through 3 innings. All right, we'll start at the top of the 4th. It'll be Willie Upshaw for the Blue Jays against Clemens. Upshaw singled. First time up. We get a 2-10, and 2-10 is a pop-up to second. Ed Romero is there. 1 away. So since that 1st inning, Roger has really settled in, but he needs his team to put some more runs on the board. They trail it 3-2. That'll bring up Fred McGriff, the designated hitter. Struck out his first chance. 1-2, and that's a Lomax plus injury, so it's a possibility that Fred McGriff will miss the rest of this game with an injury. We'll check the chart for injury and see what he's got to roll to stay in the game. And since it's as played, it's only going to be a game injury, not more than 1 game injury, just the rest of this game. So we look at the injury chart, and for batters, 1 to 4, he's got to stay in the game. 5 or higher, he's going to miss the remainder of the game. And he's going to miss the remainder of the game. So Fred McGriff is going to come out, and the Blue Jays will need a new designated hitter. So we'll see who they might want to go to. Looks like it's going to be Cecil Fielder. They will replace McGriff with Cecil Fielder. McGriff will be okay to play the next game. He's just going to miss the rest of this game. So Cecil Fielder will take over as the DH going forward for Fred McGriff. And that'll send up Ernie Witt. Ernie Witt grounded back to Clemens, his first chance. 6-10, left-handed, fly ball center field X. That's Hindu. He's a 2 E17. 2 and a 17, he'll get to it. E17 for a center fielder is a high error rate. He's got to avoid 3, 4, 7, and then 14 through 18, basically, with the exception of 15. So let's see what happens. Oh, I rolled everything. I didn't need the D20. I just need the 3 6s. That is a 15. That's the one he could avoid, and he did avoid it. On an E17, there is no 15, so it's a good play for Dave Henderson. Had trouble with it, but made the play to end the inning, and Roger Clemens breathes a sigh of relief. So we go to the bottom of the 4th. Still 3-1. Jimmy Key back out. We'll be facing Rice, Baylor, and Evans. Due up for the Jays. 1-7 for Rice. Struck him out. Rice is 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts, and he had come into the game as a hot hitter, but not against Jimmy Key. Here's Don Baylor. 1-4, and that's a ballpark single check. 1-15. That's a 3. It's a base hit for Don Baylor. Fenway Park giving up those singles. Baylor will not be held. And Dewey Evans, the batter. Key to Evans. 4-9, right-handed. He's going to pop it up to third, and Mullenix puts it away. 2 down, and now it's going to be all up to Dave Henderson. If the Red Sox look to dent the scoreboard here in the 4th. Key. Nothing on the Havoc. Here's Hindu. 2-8, left-handed, struck him out. Jimmy Key gets the K. That's the 3rd strikeout for Jimmy Key. And we go to the 4th, still 3-2. Favor the Jays. Clemens is out. He's got a fatigue of 8, but to try to be realistic, I'm going to limit him to 7 because it's his first game back after holding out, and I don't think he can go the full 8 realistically. Plus, he's already given up 3 runs, so I'm going to cap him at 7 innings regardless of how he pitches. All right, Sharperson is going to lead us off. Not Tony Fernandez. It will be Sharperson. 4-5, and that's going to be a 1-2 triple, but that's an 11, so it's going to be a single. Mike Sharperson, a leadoff single. And for the Blue Jays, that is their 5th hit of the ball game. Sharperson will be held. He has the asterisk, so they will have to hold him on, but he will not go anywhere. Here is Tony Fernandez. Fernandez is 0 for 2. To drop his average to 273 currently. 6-5, switch hitter, batting left is a fly ball to right. Now he's 0 for 3. As Evans puts it away. 1 down for Mullenix. Mullenix 1 for 2. There's a 2, so chance of a balk or a wild pitch. I'm sorry, balk or pass ball. We're checking the pass ball rating of Sullivan. And his pass ball rating is a 14, so this could very well be a pass ball. It is a 19, is not going to be a pass ball. He does manage to block it, so fortunately for the Red Sox, he didn't let that one get away. 5-12, left-handed, ground ball, shortstop, X. Now the runner is being held, so the shortstop Owen is responsible with a lefty up there. So instead of a 317, he's a 4E17. And we'll check the D24 and a 3. That's going to get through for a base hit. Big time. That's going to be single 2 stars. So Sharperson will take 3rd. And now check for an error. Spike Owen, his error rating is E17. He's got to avoid 15, 16, and 17. Which he does, but it's going to be a single 2 stars. Puts runners on the corners with 1 out. Mullenix will not be held. Does not run well at all. But the threat is there. Runners on the corners for Lloyd Mosby. And Mosby has singled and walked. Infield for the Red Sox is playing in. 2-10, and that's a ground ball, pitcher A with the infield in. So I think that's going to freeze the runner and have the runner go to 2nd. Would have been a double play if I'd have played back, but I was guarding against that ground ball B. So runners on the corners, infield in, and an A is an 8. Batter out, runner on 3rd holds, runner on 1st goes to 2nd. So Clemens checks the runner at 3rd, freezes him there, throws to 1st to get the out. And Mullenix will take 2nd base. So that's one time where playing the infield in hurts you. But the converse of that is if you play back and you get a ground ball B, the run's going to score. So they felt like the prudent move was to play the way they did. Here is George Taco Bell, and you know what? First base is open, so they're not even going to mess with him. Roger Clemens, 4 wide ones, as they don't want to take any chances with Taco Bell. He's going to load the bases for Barfield, who's 0 for 2. He's lined to short and hit into a double play. So they're going to take their chances. Oh, that's a 1, so a wild pitch chance. Roger Clemens on a wild pitch could bring home a run. His wild pitch rating is a 3. So 1 to 3, and a run's going to score 4 or higher, and Sullivan will block it. Sullivan blocks it, keeps it in front of him, keeps everybody where they are. Clemens to Barfield. 5-8 is a strikeout. So Clemens, the intentional walk to Bell pays off, and the Blue Jays leave them loaded. That could come back to bite them right there, leaving them loaded like that. Clemens gets out of it. We go to the bottom of the 5th, still 3-2 in favor of the Jays. But Clemens has to feel very fortunate to get out of there with no runs. Jimmy Key back out will face Mark Sullivan, the catcher, followed by Spike Owen and then Boggs. 5-5. That's a ground ball to second. Sharperson makes the play. 1 away. Here's Spike Owen. He homered his first time up. A rare occasion for Spike Owen for sure. He had 2 home runs on the season. Both were against left-handed pitching, so that's why I got Key on that one. 2-9 is a ground ball to short. He's going to ground to Tony Fernandez for out number 2. Top of the order in Wade Boggs. He's homered and popped to third. 3-6 for Boggs is a 1-7 single. That's a 10 though, so he's going to line it to second. Sharperson grabs it, and that's going to end the inning. We played 5 here at Fenway. Score still 3-2, nip and tuck. Looks like it'll be an offensive explosion in the first inning, but both pitchers have settled in and gotten better. We'll see how it plays out. Clemens will be facing Upshaw. Put something in front of I put the chart there, so I want to make sure I didn't mess up anything. I don't think it was messed up, but never hurts to double check it. All right, here's Willie Upshaw, singled and popped to second. 3-4 for Upshaw, and that's a 1 is a, let's look at this card a little closer here. 1's a triple, anything else is a single. That's a single for Willie Upshaw. And he will have to be held on. He has that asterisk, so if you don't hold him, he gets the lead automatically. That'll bring up Cecil Fielder. His first at bat since coming in for the injured McGriff. And on the season for Cecil Fielder, he's hitting .429, 3 for 7, 2 homers and 6 runs driven in. He's also walked 3 times, so he's definitely gotten it done. So Clemens to Fielder. 4-4, and that is a 4-4. Rather, it's an in-home run chance, 1-12. That's a 7. It is gone. Cecil Fielder has come in and hit a 2-run bomb. His 3rd home run of the season, RBIs 7 and 8 for Cecil Fielder in just his 8th at bat. He's got 3 home runs and 8 at bats for Cecil Fielder. He is solidly tearing it up, and now Roger Clemens might need some relief as the Boston bullpen is loosening. Look at their bullpen. They got Crawford, Gardner, Schiraldi, and Woodward from the right side, Sambito from the left side. And we'll see who the freshest arm is out there. They have used their bullpen quite a bit, so we'll see on the computer who has some. It looks like Wes Gardner is well rested, so Wes Gardner is loosening in the bullpen. Clemens to Witt, 4-6 left-handed. That's a 1-16 single. It is a 16, so that's a base hit. That is hit number 8 for the Blue Jays. Hit number 8 for the Jays. Wait a minute, I messed something up here. I didn't put the home run for Fielder in the computer. That's what screwed up. Now we got it. So now we go. It's hit number 9 for the Blue Jays to go with their 5 runs. And here is Sharperson. Witt not being held. 5-5. Struck him out. There's a dot there, but he's not tired yet. So he struck him out. 2 down, and that will send up. I'm sorry, only 1 away, rather, not 2 down. Top of the order, Tony Fernandez. He's 0 for 3. 1-6, and he's not 0 for 3 anymore. 1-2 is a triple. 3-20 is a double. That's a 14. It will be a double to center field. Henderson's a -2 arm. Witt doesn't run well at all. He runs at a 10. Not being held makes him an 11, but the -2 makes it a 9, so he will hold at third base on the double. And now with the left-hander coming up, boy, what do you do here? They got a couple lefties coming up, so they might bring in Zambito right here. This could be the perfect time for Zambito to come in. Let's see if make sure he's not fatigued. He is not. So Joe Zambito is going to get the call from the bullpen. It will be Joe Zambito, their lone lefty, to come in and face these lefties that are coming up. Mullenix, Mosby, those two are coming up as left-handed hitters. So Clemens looking dejected. He is going to leave the ball game. And Joe Zambito has entered. But for Boston fans, that's not necessarily a good sign. Zambito enters the game in the replay, 0-1 with a 27 earned run average. 1 inning pitched, 3 hits, 3 runs, and a walk, no strikeouts. So he has not done well in his relief role, but he gets to face a lefty here, so perhaps he's able to do something. The infield is in. Zambito to Mullenix with the infield in. 1-4 to Mullenix. Ground ball pitcher A. That's going to freeze everybody. Just a 1-3 ground out. Everybody has to stand pat. 2 down for Mosby in a clutch situation. Lloyd Mosby. Zambito looking to get out of this mess. 1-8 to Mosby. 1-6 is a home run. That's a 19. It'll be a double. Double to center field. And that will score both runs. And both of those runs are charged to Clemens. So he is going to lead the game, giving up 7 runs in less than 6 innings of pitching. Incredible. Close the book on Clemens. It was not a good book. Now here's George Bell. Zambito. Do they intentionally walk George Bell again? No, they're tired of doing that, but they're going to lift Zambito because they're tired of Zambito too. And Wes Gardner will be coming on to pitch. So Zambito couldn't get it done. And now Wes Gardner will give his chance at it. Zambito, a third of an inning, gives up a hit. He is responsible for Mosby on base. Clemens is going to go 5 1/3 innings. Now let's look at the bot. Let's use the computer to help without having to do all the math. Just look it up on the computer, and the computer will tell me. 5 1/3 innings pitched, 10 hits, 7 runs. All of them are earned. Not going to help his ERA, that's for sure. 2 home runs, 3 walks, and 5 strikeouts, and he's definitely going to get saddled with a loss, barring a miracle. It will not be a good debut for Clemens. So on to pitch is Wes Gardner. And we'll get the numbers on Gardner. And the Boston bullpen has not done well overall. So let's look at Gardner. And he is no exception. Wes Gardner 0-0, 2 innings pitched, but his ERA is 21.6. So he has not done well at all either. But what are you going to do? I mean, their bullpen is terrible. All right. Bell the batter with Mosby at second. 6-7, and that's a ground ball shortstop X. That is going to be Spike Owen. He's a 3E17. 3 and a 2 is not going to help the cause. That's going to get through 4 base hits, 2 stars. It's going to score Mosby. That run is charged to Zambito. It's now 8-2. Now we're checking for an error. E17. 15, 16, and 17. Now, no error, but it will be a base hit for Bell. RBI single for George Bell. It is now 8-2. It's becoming a laugher. And here's Jesse Barfield. 9th man to bat in the inning. That's a 1. Possible wild pitch on Gardner. And his wild pitch rating is a 9. No wild pitch, so he'll pitch to Barfield. 4-6. Struck him out, and finally the inning is over. But a 5 spot put on the board by the Blue Jays to make it 8-2 as we go to the bottom of the 6th. And now Jimmy Key has lots of breathing room. Lots and lots of breathing room. Ed Romero will be the first to face him. It'll be Romero, Buckner, and Rice. That's a 6-5, and that's a 1-5 triple. That's a 9, though, so it'll be a leadoff single for Romero. And for Romero, that's his first hit of the season. Score 8-2. They're not going to hold anybody on. Here's Billy Buck. 2-2 against the left-handers. Ground ball second base A. It's a 4-6-3 double play. Just what the doctor ordered if you're Jimmy Key. But not if you're Boston. 2 down, base is clear for Jim Rice. .5/10, fly to center. Put away by Mosby, and that's going to end the inning. So at the end of 6 complete, it is Toronto 8 and Boston 2. So unfortunately, I picked this game hoping it would be the best game of the day to show, but sometimes it just doesn't work out that way, and there's nothing you can do about it. All right, we're in the bottom of the 6th, so we're going back to, first of all, I'm going to stretch, and then we're going to go back to the out-of-town scoreboard to check on action from other games around the league on April the 11th. So New York and Kansas City were tied at 2 after 3. They are now tied at 4 after 6. Don Mattingly has hit his second home run of the season. Seattle was leading Minnesota by the score of 4-1 after 3. It's now been cut to 4-3. No home runs in the game other than Gagne and Valley that hit those in the first 3 innings, but in the middle 3, no home runs were hit. So the score is 4-3. In Chicago, they still lead the Tigers 4-0. No other home runs obviously have been hit since then, as the score remains the same. Milwaukee and Texas they were tied at 1. Now they're tied at 2, as Ruben Sierra has hit his second home run of the season to tie the game at 2 apiece. Cleveland now. Baltimore was leading 2-0 after 3, but Cleveland has stormed back to score 4 runs in the middle 3 innings, and they lead it 4-2. Andre Thornton has had 2 doubles in those 3 innings to drive in some runs and give his team the lead. California led Oakland 4-1 after 3. They now lead it 4-2 after 6, but nothing else of consequence going on there. So that is your out-of-town scoreboard for April 11th. All right, so Willie Upshaw is your leadoff man, and Wes Gardner is going to have to take one for the team and try to eat some innings. That's all there is to it. 3-5 for Upshaw. That's 1 to, let's bring it over here. We can see it better. 3-5, 1 to 12 is a double. That's a 17. It'll be a leadoff single for Upshaw. His third hit of the game. And for Toronto, that's hit number 13 as they are just pelting the ball. And here comes Cecil Fielder, speaking of pelting the ball. Hit a big 2-run homer his first time up after replacing the injured McGriff. It's a 4-9, and that's a ballpark blast against the right-hander. That's a 16. That's a 10, though, so it's just going to be a deep fly to left. So Cecil got up under it too much, and right in front of the green monster, Jim Rice will put it away for out number 1. Here's Ernie Witt. He's 1 for 3. Jesse Barfield, the only Blue Jay not to reach base. He's had a rough game, actually. He's hitting to a double play and struck out twice. 4-5 against the lefty Witt is a strikeout for Wes Gardner. And they need him to eat some innings to save their bullpen for the rest of the series. Here's Sharperson. He's 1 for 3. 4-9, and that's a ballpark blast again, but he has weak power. It's a 16, so it doesn't matter. It's a fly to left, and that's going to end the inning. So we go to the 7th inning stretch here at Fenway Park. You can sing Sweet Caroline if you wish. Some of the Fenway faithful have already left. Appreciate those of you that are still watching despite the score. Either you're Strat-O-Matic diehards or you're a Red Sox fan with lots of hope. I don't know which one it is. All right, here is Don Baylor. 6-4, and that's an in-home run chance, 1-8. That's a 19, though, so it's a fly to left field. Baylor hit it hard and hit it long, but not long enough. And George Bell puts it away. We go to Dwight Evans. 4-8 against the right-hander. He's going to line it to Sharperson. That's out number 2. This is the fatigue inning for Jimmy Key, by the way, but he seems to be doing just fine. 5-6, and that's a strikeout. It's a dot there, but he hasn't given up anything to be tired, so he will keep that strikeout handy and end the inning. So 7 innings are in the books. It's still 8-2 as the Blue Jays are walloping the homestanding Red Sox, who are about to go to 0-5 on the season. And a lot of questions for John McNamara, that's for sure. All right, here's Tony Fernandez, shortstop. That's a 2-12, and that's going to be a foul out to Mark Sullivan, 1 away. And that'll bring up Mullenix, the third baseman. He is 2 for 4. And actually, with the score being what it is, they're going to start emptying their bench a little bit, will the Blue Jays. So Kelly Gruber is actually going to pick up a bat. I'm sorry, not Kelly Gruber. Garth Orge. I don't know why I have Kelly Gruber listed here. Strange to have him there. It's Garth Orge. Or, as they say, Garth Clockwork Orge. So Garth Orge is going to take over, pinch hit for Mullenix, and stay in the game to play third base. So it is Garth Orge. Garth Orge gets an at bat. He will get an at bat. (6-8) for Gardner. 1-12 is a double. That's an 11. So Garth Orge, a pinch hit double. And even the pinch hitters are getting hits. So Garth Orge with a double. Here is Mosby. Speaking of doubles, he doubled his last time up. 6-3 to a lefty is a ground ball first base X. First baseman is Buckner. He's a 4. E13. 4 and a 7 is a G3 pound, but he wasn't holding anybody on, so the G3 is good. So we know that Orge will take third. Question is, will there be any errors? E17, he's got to avoid, I'm sorry, E13, he's got to avoid 11, 13, and 17. And it's a 13, he's going to make an error. That's going to score the run. I'm sorry, it's not going to score the run. It's going to be, runner's just going to get to third on the error. So it's a G3. It's going to allow the runner, G3 with an E1. G3 with an E1. Error, batter to first, runner advances 1 base. So Orge will stop at third. Mosby reaches on the E3. Poor Billy Buck makes another error. And that'll bring up George Bell. Infield at double play depth, trying to turn 2. 6-6, and that's a strikeout for Wes Gardner. Big one. 2 down, and that's going to send up Barfield. Like I said, he's 0 for 4. Only Blue Jay without a hit in the ball game. Barfield, you could say he's due, though. 6-8, and there's your due right there. 1 to 12 is a double. That's a 6. So that will be a double to center field for Barfield. It's going to score Orge. Mosby, let's see, he runs at a 17, being held makes him a 16. Double goes to center. And the arm of Henderson's a -2, be a 14. 1 to 14 with 2 outs. He becomes 1 to 16. So they're going to send him. And he's in there. And Barfield will take third on the throw. So it's a 2-run double for Jesse Barfield. So you say he was the only one without a hit. Lo and behold, he gets a 2-run double. And takes third for his trouble on the overthrow. So now that makes it 10-2. That is hit number 15 for the Jays. Here's Upshaw. He is 3 for 4. And Gardner may be needing relief very soon. 2-12, and that's a fly to center to mercifully end the inning. That's going to be it for Gardner. He's going to go 2 innings. Actually, he's going to go 2 1/3. And at least he ate up some innings. That's about the best you could say about Wes Gardner. Let's get the totals on Gardner. He's 2 1/3, 4 hits, 2 runs, but none of them were earned because of the error. And he didn't walk anybody, struck out 3, so actually didn't pitch that poorly, but his defense just let him down. And we'll go to the bottom of the 8th. Jimmy Key is back out for his 8th inning of work, as he has nothing against his fatigue so far. And he'll be facing Mark Sullivan. 4-5, right-hander, fly to left. George Bell puts it away, 1 down. That will send up Spike Owen. 3-8 for Owen against the lefty. Fly to center. 2 down. Top of the order in Wade Boggs. He led off the game with a home run, but has gone 0 for 2 since. 5-7, left-handed. 1 to 4 is a single, but that's going to be a liner to second. And that's going to end the inning. And that will do it for Jimmy Key. They're going to let him pitch 8 innings, and they'll let somebody else mop up the 9th. So we go to the 9th with the score 10-2 in favor of Toronto. And we will get a new pitcher for Boston. See who in the bullpen is not tired that they can turn to. They will turn to Rob Woodward. Well, he's a long reliever. They're going to try to see if they can find somebody else that, well, Crawford's tired and they don't want to use their closer Schiraldi, so they're kind of stuck with Woodward. So Rob Woodward will be coming on to pitch for Boston. Woodward on the season, 0-0 with a 4.50 ERA, 4 innings pitched, 5 hits, 2 walks, and 4 strikeouts. And so, fourth pitcher of the game for Boston is Woodward. Facing the bottom of the order, fielder, Witt and Sharperson. Although there will be a pinch hitter for Witt, it's going to be Matt Stark. So with the score getting out of hand, they're going to bring in Matt Stark to pinch hit for Witt and take over as the catcher. So Stark will be coming on. That leaves Rick Leach as the last remaining player on the bench. So it's going to be fielder, Stark, and Sharperson against Woodward. Fielder. Well, he's already done some damage, so they might use Rick Leach here just to get an extra at bat. So just to get Rick Leach in at bat, they're going to take fielder out and put in Rick Leach to DH. So he can have an at bat. Might as well get these bench guys some at bats to try to keep them fresh, keep them sharp. Leach has not yet played in the season, so this is his first at bat. So definitely a good time to get him in at bat. In the regular season, he hit .282 and 195 at bats, 3 homers and 25 driven in. So Leach will be facing Woodward. That's a 6-10 to a lefty, and that's a ballpark single check. It's 1-19, so you better believe it. It's going to be a base hit, and yet another pinch hitter. All 3 pinch hitters so far for Toronto have gotten base hits. That'll bring up Matt Stark, the catcher. His first at bat. That's a 1, so Woodward could throw a wild pitch here. His wild pitch rating is an 11, so might very well be a wild pitch. It is not. It's blocked by Sullivan. He's still awake behind the plate. 1-8, and that's a line out to second base. Matt Stark lines out to second. Here's Ernie Witt. I'm sorry, not Ernie Witt. That's who he pinch hit for. It's Sharperson is up now. Sharperson, 1 for 4. 1-7, struck him out. He's 1 for 5. And that'll send up Tony Fernandez. .210 for Fernandez. That's a ballpark single check. He's a lefty hitter. That's a base hit. He's going to put runners at first and second. Fernandez with his second hit of the game. And that'll send up Garth Orge. Took over for Mullenix and hit a pinch hit double his first time up. That was off of Gardner. Now he's facing Woodward. 4-7, and that's a walk. That's going to load the bases for Lloyd Moseby. And Woodward's just going to have to take one for the team. They're not going to bring in Schiraldi in a 10-2 game, so he's just going to have to deal with it. Moseby with the bases loaded and 2 outs. 4-10 left-handed, and that's an in-home run chance, 1-8. That's a 9, though. It's going to be a double. I'm sorry, it's going to be a triple, a base-clearing triple for Lloyd Moseby. It's a 1-8 home run. That's a 9, so a 9-20 is a triple. Lloyd Moseby, a home run short of the cycle now, as he gets a base-clearing triple to make it 13-2 in favor of Toronto. And that is now 18 hits for the Blue Jays. And don't look now, but here comes George Taco Bell. Woodward just trying to mercifully get out of the inning. 1-2 to Taco Bell, and he does as a liner to third. There is a max injury here, but if he has to come out, they could put Rick Leach, who's the DH. They can move him to left field and lose the DH, but you're in the 9th inning, so it doesn't matter anyway. So let's see if Bell stays in the game, and he's a 1-4 to stay in the game. He does not, so George Bell will come out, and the new left fielder will be Rick Leach. So Rick Leach will take over in left field. The pitcher spot will hit in George Bell's spot. as Bell is out of the game. But like I said, it doesn't really matter. And we need a new pitcher for Toronto. Who's going to mop up this wonderful 13-2 game? Woodward's day is done. He goes 1 inning, gives up 1, 2, 3 hits and 3 runs, all earned. Walked 1 and struck out 1. So for the Blue Jays, they get 13 runs on 18 hits. Red Sox commit the 1 error. And now who's going to come in and pitch for Toronto is the question. Who is the worst guy they can use out of their bullpen? Or who needs the work, I guess would be the other question. And we'll check and see who's the freshest bullpen arm they have. Looks like it's Musselman. He's only gone 1 inning this season, so it'll be Musselman, the left-hander. Jeff Musselman. So Musselman is on. He is 0-0, 1 inning pitch, gave up 3 runs, so he's got an ERA of 27. He's walked 3 in the 1 inning, so he definitely needs to get a smooth inning to help lower that ERA. And he'll be facing Romero, Buckner, and Rice, unless the Red Sox want to bring in some pinch hitters, which they might do. But they're going to let Romero hit first before they do that. 2-7 for Romero against the lefty. Struck him out. That'll bring up Billy Buck, but Billy Buck will get called back. And they will bring on a pinch hitter, right-handed pinch hitter for Billy Buck, and it will be Schaefer. Danny Schaefer, one of the backup catchers, will pinch hit in this situation. Danny Schaefer will pinch hit for Buckner. See how many at-bats he's had. Schaefer on the season is 0 for 4. And he struck out twice, so he could certainly use something. 3-6 against the lefty. He's going to strike out again. He's 0 for 5 with 3 strikeouts. Ergo, why he hasn't played much. All right, Jim Rice. We're not going to pinch hit for Jim Rice. He's 0 for 3. He wants a hit. 1-6, and he won't get it. He's going to strike it out. So how about that? Musselman comes in and strikes out the side. Talk about improving your ERA. That certainly did it. So there's your ball game, and I'm going to pause the video briefly and get ready to wrap this game up and wrap up the out-of-town scoreboard as well. All right, I accidentally, instead of pausing the video, I stopped the video. My fat finger hit the wrong button. So I'm just going to tack this on to the end of the video. Hopefully it will be as seamless as possible. We shall see. But anyway, 13-2 your final score as we wrap things up from Fenway. Total line score, 13 runs, 18 hits, and no errors for the Blue Jays. They left on 9. And Boston, 2 runs, 5 hits, 1 error, and they left on 2. Both Boston runs coming on solo home runs. Other than that, they really didn't threaten the base paths very often. Player of the game, Lloyd Mosby. He was a home run shy of the cycle. He's 3 for 5. 3 runs scored and 5 runs driven in. The biggest blow, the bases loaded triple in the 9th to put the coup de grace on the Red Sox and make it a 13-2 game. Jimmy Key, your winner. He's 2-0 as he goes 8 innings pitched, 5 hits, 2 runs, no walks, and 4 strikeouts. Tough luck loser Roger Clemens 0-1, 5 1/3 innings, 10 hits, 7 runs earned. His ERA stands at 11.81. So with the victory, Boston drops to 0-5, and Toronto improves to 4-1. So Boston, the only winless team in the league after 5 games, and the White Sox, the only undefeated team through 5 games. So the White Sox are undefeated, the Red Sox are winless. Everybody else has at least 1 win or 1 loss. So let's go through the remainder of the out-of-town scoreboard. And I kind of gave away one of the finals inadvertently. But anyway, we'll wrap it up as Kansas City and the Yankees in Kansas City were tied at 4 at the end of 6. But it went 10 innings, and the Kansas City Royals topped the Yankees by the score of 6-4 in the 10th inning. Bo Jackson, a walk-off 2-run home run, his first of the season, gives the Kansas City Royals their first win of the season. The Yankees dropped to 3-2. Quisenberry, the winner, 1-1, and Bob Shirley, the loss, he drops to 1-1. Seattle tops Minnesota by the score of 4-3. Seattle now is 4-1. Minnesota is 2-3. Home runs: Gagne is first, Valley is first, Trujillo the winner 1-0, Straker the loser 0-1, and Ed Nunez records his league-leading 3rd save. The White Sox stay unbeaten, and they top the Tigers by the score of 6-2. Matt Noakes did hit his first home run for the Tigers, but Ron Hassey, Daryl Boston, and Ozzie Guillen all hit their first home runs of the season. Chicago now 5-0. Detroit drops to 1-4. Rich Dotson, the winner, 1-0. Jack Morris, the loser, 0-2. Bob James had to come in the 9th after shaky outings by the rest of their bullpen, and he did record the 2nd save of the season. White Sox were winning 6-0 going into the 9th. Took Dotson out after 8 innings, brought in the bullpen, some of their schlubs, and they gave up a couple runs, put runners on base, so I had to bring in Bob James to save it. Texas knocks off Milwaukee, gives Milwaukee their first loss of the season, so Milwaukee will not go 13-0. Texas is now 2-3. Milwaukee is 4-1. They beat the Brewers 6-4. Home runs: Molitor is 3rd, Braggs is 2nd, but Ruben Sierra had 2 home runs, his 2nd and his 3rd, to send the Rangers to the victory. Charlie Huff, the winner, 1-1. Teddy Higuera, the loser, 0-1, and Greg Harris picks up his first save. The Baltimore Orioles had a wild one with the Cleveland Indians. They trailed most of the game, but they win it in 13 innings by the score of 6-4. Ken Gerhart had a 2-run home run at the top of the 13th to win it for the Orioles, who improved to 3-2. Cleveland drops to 2-3. The winner was Don Ossie. He's now 1-0. The loser was Ed Vandenberg. He's 0-1. And Cleveland in the game left 16 runners on base. That was their bugaboo. In the final game, Oakland comes back to top California by the score of 5-4 in 10 innings. Jay Howell, the winner, 1-0. Donnie Moore, the loser, 0-1. There were no home runs in the game. Oakland improves to 3-2. California drops to 1-4. So that's your out-of-town scoreboard for April 11th. And as we peruse the standings after 5 games for each team, and I'll see if it shows up very well on the computer on the video. I don't know if it will or not from my computer, but I'll try. Toronto is now tied Milwaukee at 4-1. And Boston, of course, is 4 games back already at 0-5. White Sox lead the West by 1 game over Seattle. And California, Kansas City bringing up the rear at 1-4. Those are the games from April the 11th. As we look ahead in the season to April the 12th, let's see what the game of the week is going to be on that, on the game for the video, I should say, on April the 12th. Let me look at my schedule, see who I had sitting out as the next up. And the next video will be the Minnesota Twins and the Seattle Mariners. They will take a game in Seattle. That'll be the game for April the 12th. Of course, I'll play all the ones offline and do the out-of-town scoreboard as usual. But it will be Minnesota and Seattle Minnesota is 2-3. Seattle is 4-1. So Minnesota looking to try to creep back in the standings. White Sox 5-0. Don't know how long it's going to last, but you just never know what the dice will say. So that's going to do it from here. Next video on the channel will be Game 4 of the American League 1973 ALCS. Oakland and Baltimore from Oakland. It'll be Jim Palmer against Vida Blue. It'll be in a couple of days. I don't know exactly which day I'll post it. I'm going to post this on Tuesday because I'm recording it Monday night. So we'll probably post that one on Thursday. And then on Saturday, we'll do the live stream, the NLCS Game 4, Pittsburgh and San Francisco from Pittsburgh. It'll be Nelson Briles for the Pirates against Ron Bryant for the Giants. Both those series, the home teams lead at 2-1, so they're looking to wrap up the series. The visiting teams looking to extend it to a Game 5. So that's going to do it. Wrap it up from here. Hope you enjoyed that presentation despite the bloated score. Hope you enjoyed that presentation of Strat-O-Matic Super Advanced 1987 style. And until next time, enjoy playing whatever game you choose to